Since before its founding, United States citizens have had encounters with unknown biological entities within the vast forests of North America. Above all others, one stands alone in both its notoriety and the evidence for its existence. The name of this creature? Bigfoot. Despite never publicly showing a body, many people believe that a species of great ape wanders the woods. And with state, federal, and local authorities not properly communicating species ranges of known predators, many more wonder, is the government downplaying the evidence?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jaster and with the Southeast Bigfoot Research Organization, and I got Kaz with me tonight on tonight's episode. How are you doing tonight?
Yo, what's up? I'm doing great. We are in the booth way later than we like to be. We usually like to record these around midday.
Not midnight.
These pretty late in the evening because we wanted to get this on our schedule as soon as possible when we made this discovery. And what discovery might that be? Well, I'm glad you asked. Jaster, you want to take it away for us?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wind back a little bit here, because this is going to be a little bit of a story. So
last season, because we are declaring this in air quotes new season, because we've learned a lot and we've grown a lot since we did our first spate of these episodes in Bigfoot Geography. We did a 3-parter on Alaska, covering lower, central, and northern Alaska.
I think it kicked off Bigfoot Geography.
Yeah, I think I don't have the channel pulled up, but it was we had a lot of fun researching those, and we found a lot of really interesting stories, and we learned a lot about investigating and stuff. Because, I mean, the truth is, you're never too old to learn something new, and when you're in this, when you are an armchair amateur researcher like we are. It never hurts to get new skills and have new tools in your toolbox, right?
Right.
There was one thing in particular that we had very intentionally sidestepped around at the time because we felt we weren't ready to tackle it. And we're very glad that we waited, actually.
Very much so. Like, it was something in the back of our head just said, wait a minute. Just give it a second, okay? And this happened.
We'll stop jerking y'all around. We're talking about the metal detecting in Alaska Bigfoot video. And tangentially related, the Oregon Trucker Bigfoot video that we've already talked about like 3 times now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
This is going to be the last time, we promise.
Yes, this one's pretty much put to bed with that one, y'all. So, we're going to rip a Band-Aid off with that. The Ramirez video, which is the one we keep talking about the Bigfoot trucker that is in a rest stop on a highway getting sound blasted by Bigfoot. That's fake. We got the video. We've got the originals. And we're going to get into it, baby. This is going to be a wild ride.
We found the tapes, everybody.
So welcome you all to Season 2 of Bigfoot Geography. And let's go ahead and get on into it. So, the original video that we want to talk about tonight, okay, the big showcase is the October 8th, 2020 video posted by the Metal Detecting in Alaska channel. All right, now, a little bit of background on this channel is that it isn't a Bigfoot related channel at all. It's actually written.
Not at first.
No,
at least.
I wouldn't say so. It was it's definitely more of a slice of life kind of vlog type channel, and it's ran by a nurse that works out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Okay, now they've got all kinds of stuff. It seems to me be more of a chronicling of life, kind of more about garnering views and making money. However, it's pretty important to note that the initial video that was posted about Bigfoot was the first big hit on this channel. I would say anything over a couple thousand hits. Now, I'm going to refer to the person that is recording this video as the cameraman.
Yep.
Because we don't really want to throw people out there like that. I say that, but I'm pretty sure this dude has already thrown his own name in this ring, going on the History Channel, okay, and talking about this. So this is big. All right, we're not trying to sidestep around the fact that we're shooting for the king almost a little bit here.
Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
This guy had reportedly had this encounter out to the west of Fairbanks, Alaska, off of the highway. It's not really a good location for this video as far as how to track it down properly on a map. Like, telling us it's like the western foothills of Fairbanks, Alaska is like telling me that you had a Bigfoot sighting in the Yosemite Mountains. You know, thanks. You know, you really got it close.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's like wonderful.
All right, so
I once took a shit in Washington D.C. You know, that means about as much.
Exactly.
Silly.
So this guy was doing metal detecting out there, and this video is about a 10 to 12 minute long video, I'm pretty sure. The main part of it doesn't happen until about the halfway part, after he picks up and he finds a locket, okay? And that's when the howling starts. And we have talked about this video, me and Kaz, back and forth in our own time for years. How this one's been one of those videos that's just wild, right? And the type of audio that you get out of it. Because the very last part of the howling in this video that happens after the rocks get thrown into the river and after all of the sound blasting is it's really big whooping sound. It's a really distinct kind of sound, okay? Now, after this had happened, the guy kind of moseys on his way back off the river. We're not going to show too much of what's going on here just because we don't want to have any sort of issues with that. We're just going to show you guys the spectrogram analysis, okay? So what we did is I found and isolated the actual distinctive whoop at the very end of the video, okay? Now let me bring this up in the streamcast, so if you want you can go ahead and join up the stream, and I'll bring it up here for the video feed for
I'm already
everybody.
in there. I've been in there.
Okay, so alright, so take 5 on why we believe this video here is more than likely a fabrication. So we got the Ramirez video here on the right, and we got the St. Louis County audio file here on the left. Alright, now what's important to note is the St. Louis County audio was recorded in Minnesota back in 2012, and the Ramirez video was a couple of years ago in Oregon. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start playing it here, just so you guys get a baseline of what you're hearing side by side. Now we're going to play the Ramirez audio first. Actually, we're going to boost this up a little bit more so you guys can hear it.
Starting to regret that I stopped at this rest.
Alright, so interesting things that we got here is this big dead space in the center, but we have a really distinct second call, and we've got a really strong first one. Alright, so I want to go ahead and put the St. Louis County audio up so you guys can hear it. Alright, so What's really important to understand here is that the calls are happening at the same frequency ranges of 340 and just above 600 on the first call, and it's pretty much the same-ish area here at the second part of the call. I would say a little bit lower is the main part of the second vocalization, probably closer to 300. And the second thing that really gets me about this whole thing is that big old dead space in the center is present in both parts of the audio, okay? Both of them. We got the St. Louis County and the Ramirez. Both of them's got that big old dead space right there in the middle, and everything else looks to be on the same frequency, the same wavelength, the same duration, same pitch. If this is a situation where both of these, like St. Louis County and Ramirez audios, are real, it would be because the same individual managed to make these calls and get recorded in 2012, then migrate all the way to Oregon and do the same thing, make the same calls at the same frequency, the same duration, and get recorded again. It's a 1 in a trillion, okay? So keep that in mind while I switch on over to the second part here. And let's go ahead and get the big show on the road. So what we got is the metal detecting in Alaska video, okay? Now, all of the things that I pointed out, keep in mind while we go ahead and play the side-by-side. So I'm going to start with the metal detecting in Alaska video. We're going to isolate the sonic fingerprints of the most distinct call in the video, which was that really big whooping slide whistle kind of sound that you hear at the very end, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it.
Oh, jeez. Alright, guys, let's get out of here.
Alright, so let's compare that to the St. Louis County audio really quick. Now that's a hard one because both of them have the same plateauing at the same point in time, the same kind of drop off, and they both start around the same exact wavelength, same duration, and it's got to be the most distinctive call from a Bigfoot encounter I've ever heard. And that's what makes this so hard, okay? So in order to make this real, or all three videos work at the same time, one of the four callers from St. Louis County would have had to migrate, one to Oregon, the other to Alaska, and then both get caught again years later making the same exact call at the same exact pitch, duration. And guys, that's a lot of probability, okay? In order for one to have happened is crazy. The second to have happened is pretty much impossible. What's a lot more likely in both scenarios is that we've got more than likely nice high quality sound equipment or some sort of post editing. Like, I'm going to lean more on the sound equipment just because in some of these cases the audio is a lot more clear and the original is not as clear. And it's a lot easier to just play it really loud on a nice speaker system that you've got stashed away somewhere. And it's a hard one because this one in particular has reached a lot of people. And we don't want people to think that the thing itself is fake just because the way that people had gotten the original call isn't the most forthcoming with the truth, okay? Like, this one was originally done in 2012, the one on the left, all right? That's the St. Louis County audio that happened in Minnesota. The other one happened in 2020, maybe 2021. So do the math, guys. Do the odds. The fact that it's the same exact sonic fingerprint, it makes it really, really rough. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to the discussion. Thank you all, and if you liked the video so far, go ahead and leave that like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all here in a second. Alright, so this is the part that I really wanted to show everybody. here, take 2. Alright, so I completely get it now. Whenever people go on interviews and they say whatever I heard sounded like Jurassic Park, that has got to be it. I don't think I've ever heard anything quite like that before. But the big interesting thing to note here is that a lot of the sonic fingerprints that we're getting in these calls do match up the species variation of the tornado siren type howl that we see and hear so often. And those match. Those are going on at the same time as all these other really crazy howls here that don't exactly match what we see. And I'm circling them right here and right here. Like, these are nuts. And the fact that there's multiple callers on at the same time, so close to each other. We've got what seems to be 2 near the recorder and 2 out, further out, calling back and forth to each other. And, oh my goodness. If you had that, oh my God, I could see people wanting that too. That has got to be some of the best, craziest audio I've ever heard. And you'd never hear it outside of maybe niche circles, okay? Like, this is crazy. But we're going to get back into it. Thank you for listening. It's the same exact call. Like, it's not even close to having any variation whatsoever. And it's something that you can see pretty distinctly in the actual spectrogram that I've got showed up here on the board. So the only real thing that kind of happens that's really different is that they've got the human speech kind of in between,
yeah, that's that
right?
bit over there on the right. Yeah.
Yes. And you see it a little bit after the big whoop.
I mean, honestly, even without playing it, looking at the spectrogram, you can already see the exact arc shape that it takes, and you can see that second register right above it.
What's really hard is that it happens on the same exact frequencies. Okay?
Oh my God!
The same exact, your 300 to 1000 hertz right there. Bam. Like, that is literally the same thing. Like,
I know when you... So, a little bit of backstory. I was chilling, like, late at night playing games, because I had, like, a late shift the next day, so I was like, I'm going to stay up and play this. I'm sitting there playing games, and I get a call from Jaster. I'm like, why the fuck is he calling me? It's like half an hour till midnight. We don't usually talk this late. And I'm texting him like, dude, what the hell are you calling me for? He's like, dude, you gotta get in the call. And I'm like, what? He's like, I found something crazy. I'm like, okay. So I get in there, and he shows this to me. And I was a little skeptical at first, mainly because this is something I'll touch upon at the end of the episode. When you find something really good and you want to believe in it, you don't want to believe it's fake and that you've been duped. But we sat there, and we listened to the reel that he found, and we skimmed through it, and then we listened to this and the trucker video, and we picked out the trucker video pretty quickly, and then we listened to the Bigfoot metal detecting one, and there was this very distinct one at the very end, which I believe is what we have here on the spectrogram, right?
yes, that's this exact hoop.
Yeah, where there's a very loud whoop that happens once and then it's repeated again at a higher register. It like peaks the mic in the original one. That's how fucking loud it is. And you can see how intense it is there on the spectrogram on the top.
Yes.
And when we heard that in the metal detecting video, we went, oh my god, it's literally the same one.
And it's so distinct that it's hard to replicate. I would say of all of the audio I've ever looked at, this whoop is almost distinctive in and of itself. I've never seen
really
this before.
is. Yeah.
And that's kind of what helped me identify it, right? So there's another one that we're going to go into too. So the next spectrogram analysis that we're going to put up here is the Ramirez to the St. Louis County audio. And you can see here, Kaz, that
once again,
it's
up top, we have our original
exactly
spectrogram.
the same on the spectrogram.
And even though it's fainter because it's off, like you can see the kind of like claw mark looking fingerprint it has on the spectrogram there.
Exactly.
Like you've got all the noise from the cabin of the truck and also Mr. Ramirez talking as well. But it's very distinctly the same one.
Exactly. And what we're going to do also is that we're going to put a link to the original video that you guys can go and see. And we're going to put timestamps for these portions on that as well. So that way you can go to it and see it yourself.
Yeah. We're also going to be editing the episode so you can, and comparing the playback.
Yes, we're going to have it to where you guys can hear it. Y'all can see it. We just don't want to put large portions of other videos on our video. That little thing that we just don't want to do, you know? So
yeah, exactly.
We're just going to make sure that we've got you guys linked up to the right direction. That way you guys can see the evidence for yourself. And we're going to point you to what we see. That way you can see it. And we also like to tell you guys how we do this. Because like I said before, all of this can be done on Audacity. Free programming software that you guys can literally put something in, go to this part on the right, or on the left, right to the left of where you see your frequency marker. You can right click on it, and right in the middle you can select between waveform and spectrogram view. And you can see this exactly the same way we do. Because we don't like to share, we want to share as much as we can with you guys. All right.
The more people that know how to use this tool, the better. Because we've mentioned it constantly ever since we got back from Kentucky at the, it was the end of April, right?
Yes.
That audio is the next frontier of Sasquatch research. And this right here is why, because it helps us pick apart the fakes a lot easier. So now that we have shown you guys the spectrograms and we've compared the audio, again, I'm assuming in post, and you guys maybe tabbed away to go compare things yourself, let's talk about how we suspect that these fakes were done.
The biggest thing for me is that the hardest part to discern with this is exactly how. I want to put this more on a probability scale of how I think that this was done. And the more that I'm looking into it, the spectrogram and everything else, I think the probability of both of these being sound blasted with speaker systems rather than being added in post editing is the more likely scenario. Because both of them are definitely possible. All right?
Yeah.
But the fact that both clips that was used for both hoax videos were completely identical to the original, to the point where it makes me think they just took a section of the original video and just played that instead. Now, one of these videos, I would say, I think it's the metal detecting in Alaska video. The peaking hoop that was in it doesn't exactly match the first one that was in there. So you got the rising hoop that we identified as definitely a part of this video. But the hoop that happened beforehand, I don't think predates it. I'll definitely have a bigger scan out. So here I've got the original here. Let me zoom in a hair so that way we can see it.
Yeah, the original one, it's almost like 25 minutes of audio.
It's like 12, but it's definitely better.
It's still pretty long, and you can see our hoop.
Yep.
Our rising hoop right there.
Now, there's a couple of interesting things. I think both of these are just straight up sound blast calls, because the Ramirez video, you can tell here in the original that I'm going to put up that there are definitely blank places. It's because the original video was recorded with one of those long-term sound recording devices that they use in bioacoustics, where you can just kind of set it, and anytime something big happens, it'll pick it up and it'll start recording. So all of those dead patches in there are times whenever the recorder was inert, and it picks up and then it starts recording whenever something happens. To conserve space, it shuts back down. That's what you get. And then the Ramirez video, you can literally hear those same dips that are in the original in it, to the point where I'm almost wondering if the sound blasting speaker system wasn't just on top of his semi-truck.
Right.
And the biggest part about it to me is the identical match plus all of the dead zones still being in it means that I think it was a sound blast. I don't think it was put in in post.
No, absolutely not, no.
Now, with the metal detecting video, I do think it was potentially altered in some way. However,
there was definitely at least a little bit of editing, because the bits of audio that we do hear, there's some that's like right at the start of the recording. This is the Louisville recording, right?
No, this is the
St. Louis County. There we go.
St. Louis County.
This is the St. Louis. So in the St. Louis County audio, there's some pretty distinctive calls right at the start that you can hear in the metal detector video. But then the one you hear towards right before he decides to leave in the metal detector video is towards the back of the tape. So what we think the person who made it did is that they basically cut out the ones that they thought were the most distinct and most impressive, and then stitched them together, basically.
Exactly. Or in some way, shape, or form tried to make it look like it wasn't 100% of a rip.
Yeah.
However, the fact that call was used in the first place is a little too distinctive. Like, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so as for the source of our audio, the reason why these two were able to get away with it is because, well, one, this audio is 13 years old. And it kind of flew under the radar when it came out. It was originally posted on the now defunct website, SasquatchResearchers.org. However, it now exists on the Sasquatch Bioacoustics blog. There's a mirror of it on YouTube as well. And the video on YouTube predates both the Ramirez video and the Metal Detecting in Alaska video by a good amount of time.
Yeah, like 8 years minimum.
The researcher who posted this, Mike, shout out Mike, by the way. We wouldn't have been able to crack this wide open if you hadn't posted. But then again, these fakes also would not have been able if Mike hadn't posted. So it's a double-edged sword of research. There's always going to be
while we're shouting out to people, I was actually looking through the Bigfoot Reddit. Okay, like I don't know why I was doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning, and this one guy leaves a post on this topic about the metal detecting in Alaska video, and he says, I recognize the calls immediately. It was recorded previously in St. Louis County, Minnesota. Some of my favorite calls, actually. And that's what got me down this rabbit hole. So shout out to Voidmaster05.
Yeah, also, what was interesting about that post, nobody engaged with his reply in that thread at all.
Oh, there's like two of those. That's it.
It's usually there's somebody going, no, you haven't heard this before, or whatever, because people get really defensive about evidence because, we all want to believe. And when somebody challenges anything, there are going to be people who throw themselves in the way of that challenge because they want to preserve the sanctity of the evidence and all that stuff. But
it's kind of hard whenever you don't have a good database of information to skim through with fakes too. Like, the hardest part about this is that unless you were somebody that was already deep in the trenches of bioacoustics and Bigfoot and listening to niche audio recordings, you were not going to pick this up. Okay?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just to give it a little bit of credence to what I'm saying, this got past the History Channel. Okay? Like, this was put on there. They interviewed him. Okay, he's been to conferences. I'm pretty sure he was interviewed by the Finding Bigfoot guys. I'm pretty sure.
Mr. Metal Detector?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bobo and all them interviewed him. I could be wrong about that, but I know he's been interviewed before. Like,
yeah.
On the whole, all of these videos put together have been seen by over 2 million people. So this has kind of gone a long way,
Yeah, I remember seeing. I saw this comment on a video recently, and it kind of stuck with me. A lie can get halfway across the world, around the world, before the truth is even done lacing up its boots.
And here we are. Like,
yep. So
it's kind of a long, arduous journey to cipher and get through all of this information.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of put our lesson of the day on here and wrap this up, since we came in, said what we wanted to say, and it's late, so.
Right. So firstly, it's important for us all to understand here that even though hoaxing exists, even though doctored evidence exists, all of that, it doesn't mean that that applies to literally everything in the phenomenon, okay? There's always going to be those that utilize Bigfoot for their own gain and their own pleasure and enjoyment, and that doesn't take away from all the other things that are happening. Two things can exist at the same time, okay? The hoaxers can exist in Bigfoot, but also real evidence can exist as well. Like, that's the hardest part for us as a community. In order to get people to understand what's going on here, we have to really get them to understand that there is things that happen even though there are hoaxes, okay? And that kind of goes into my second part of this, is that the truth can be much more interesting than hoaxing, okay? Because remember whenever you were saying here, just in this video, that it seems though what they did was they cut out the parts that they thought was the most crazy in this audio.
Yeah.
I don't know what part they missed, but holy crap, the middle of it was so much wilder.
Yeah, there's some really intense calls.
Yes.
In this video. The Sierra sounds, a lot of people say those are unsettling because, it's got that speech mimicry in there. To me, personally, listening to the St. Louis County tape, that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because I was just imagining being out in the middle of the woods at night and hearing that.
Lord.
Nope. Oh my god, dude. No fucking way.
Because we're going to go into this a little bit more. Like, the weirdest part about the St. Louis County is that there are definite howling that's happening that mimics the other big audio, big audio calls, I'm sorry. So there's definitely some established Bigfoot calls going on in that video, but there's also a lot of calls that have variance in pitch, which is different. And I'm not sure if I like that or not. But there's also plenty of howls that do show the same monotone, kind of even pitch in the audio, and those definitely look a lot better, than it's kind of a rough one. you know?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Because, like,
Absolutely.
this could either be another fake in itself, right? Or this could be something that turns what we currently know about Bigfoot vocalizations on its head again. All right?
Yep. I personally, I mean, it was good enough for two people to go to use it for fakes. So, in you know, it's a lot harder to debunk audio on its own when you don't have anything to compare it to, which is why these two got away with it as long as they did. And I think that kind of leads us to the last point that we want to make tonight. This is one I want to make. It is important as a researcher to accept when we're wrong. Part of the scientific process is creating a hypothesis, researching it, and seeing if that holds up and can become a theory. And that doesn't always work out. Sometimes we get faulty data. Sometimes we get sometimes we find something, we think we have something that turns out to be nothing. But it's even harder to accept when you've been fooled. It takes swallowing your own pride. Nobody wants to admit that they've been duped, especially when you're an amateur researcher and you want to try to seem authoritative and clerical, and you want to have some kind of legitimacy and, you know, reputation and stuff like that. People feel like it's a stain, you know. The thing is, there's no shame in being fooled, but I think there is shame in being stubborn about and fessing up. I don't know. Okay, here, let me try that. There's no shame in admitting to being fooled. Everybody gets made a fool of every now and again. It's happened even to me, and especially in this new era where it's getting easier and easier and easier to fake things. Even the most astute and analytical of us can have the wool pulled over our eyes. What matters is how we react to being fooled, and more importantly, that we share this information with others. By circulating the St. Louis County tapes, we can inoculate our community against people using this audio for more fakes. And eventually, it will become distinctive enough that people can watch a video and be like, that's the St. Louis County audio. You're faking this. And I hope that one day we can get to that.
It's kind of crazy because, like, this thing still got, like, over 100,000 views by itself, you know what I mean? Like, but we're talking about going up against the Sierra Sounds, which who knows how many millions of views that audio has gotten over the years, you know? Like,
not only that, but this audio was lost due to the ever-shifting landscape of the internet. Its original host site went down, and although it has a home on a new blog and there's a mirror on YouTube, there are tons of new videos being uploaded to YouTube every day, and this one got lost in the noise. We just happened to get lucky enough to find somebody saying that they've heard this before, and that's what led us down this rabbit hole. If that one person hadn't had that knowledge and heard this audio, we would not have been able to follow this trail to its natural conclusion, and that's something worth thinking about.
because I'll even go down this part too. Like, we don't talk about modern stuff too much at all, okay?
No.
Because, so, I will say, to be fair to the AI mode in Google, 90% of the time when you ask it something,
generative AI,
it gives you, like,
garbage,
but I'll give it the 5 cents that it will at least shove you somewhat in the right direction most of the time. Like, it'll at least get you in the right direction. It might not give you the right information all the time. You always need to double check it, but it's going to at least get you somewhere close, all right? This was not the same. Like, anytime I looked it up, I definitely went right past the AI mode because it just was not, it was confusing itself with this.
Right, well, yeah, because it's just surface level scraping information and regurgitating it. And that is never going to match real research and investigation. You know, we sat down to confirm this for ourselves. And obviously, if anybody with ears can tell, this is the same audio. And if you have eyeballs, you can definitely tell it's the same audio because we're comparing it with the spectrogram. But an AI is not going to be able to tell you that. An AI wouldn't have been able to tell us that this was the St. Louis County tape. So,
right.
Remember, your intuition is your best tool you've got. And make sure you keep it sharp. And I think that's where we can end this tonight. I'll
definitely say it's been a wild ride the last couple of days. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm glad we could get something together because I've had a lot happening in my own life. My schedule's been getting shook up at work. I caught COVID and I was sick for an entire week. Things are happening in my own personal life, good things, mind, that are shaking up things and making me have to reassess what I'm prioritizing. And likewise, Jaster, we're getting into soup season now. So
definitely.
Things are about to pick up for him, which means it's going to get harder for us to find a day to coordinate and record
Well,
together.
I'll actually say this. So I think I'm actually to the point now where we might be getting back to regular episodes. Like, the hardest part for me is kind of almost over. Especially,
thank goodness.
On my side of my scheduling.
The soup and sandwich business has grown enough that Jaster doesn't have to constantly babysit it. Thank God.
Well, we're
It's
actually
successful
getting
enough.
potentially starting to franchise, actually, so who knows?
I'm hoping that goes well. That's a big risk. So
We'll see how it goes, guys, but
we'll see how it goes. So, but all that said, time to figure out how to get the boat out of Alaska because we're a ways up in here.
who knows where we're going next? I want to get back to getting into real stuff,
Yeah.
I don't want the channel to be known as a debunking channel. Like, we're a Bigfoot research channel, so we don't want to solely be known for debunking things, but we want to make sure that the times that we do this, we have something that we want to bring to the table that actually means something. So we want to take this and move on to the next thing. Like, I know we talked about the last episode, we're like, hey, we want to do metal detecting in Alaska, possibly. And
then
God,
we did.
and oh no.
It did not go the way we expected it to.
Right.
But, I personally, I want to do like some Midwest Bigfoots. We haven't really done a lot of Southeastern Bigfoots, which we're Seabro. We need to talk about Bigfoot encounters in the Southeast.
Well, you get to pick the next one. Last time I picked one, we debunked 2 million views, okay?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about Skunk Ape and the rabbit hole around that? Like,
that's a good one. I want to talk about that. Actually, I have a good idea too. I want to talk about how with skunk apes in particular, how many juvenile sightings and adolescent sightings that basically get written off as orangutans, and how that kind of affects a lot of different stuff. That might be a cool one.
Maybe.
There's
definitely a piece of footage I want to bring out that's I think it's a classic personally, that we can go look at. Of course, we can talk about the iconic photograph. You can't talk about Skunk Ape without talking the photograph and all the weirdness that surrounds that.
Well, that's a good one.
It's a really good one.
There's a couple good videos. Like, I know Nawak's got a bunch of audio that's out there.
So yeah, we're gonna start getting into stuff that's in our backyard, because hey, we're Seabro. We're in the Southeast. We should talk about the Southeast. Well, I think that's gonna do it, everybody. This is your periodical reminder that we're not dead.
We're just busy.
Kazari Iwakura. Yeah, we're not dead. We're just busy. I'm Kazari Iwakura.
And I'm Jaster Landwin, and you all have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.